So I just caught up on the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, right? And I don't know, it kind of went in a direction that I feel a little bit disappointed by, which is a shame because I really do like Jujutsu Kaisen, and I was honestly hooked on it from the first episode. It has really good animation, a good premise. The characters are really cool. I mean, you have Gojo, Yuji, which is like the exact type of character that I like, and Maki. Whew.
Nice.
Maki is great, but it's really good, and I really like the show. But when I, caught up and started reading the manga, and the more I read, the more it kind of just wasn't living up to what I guess had hoped it would be. It just felt like it left a lot to be desired to me personally. Even with me saying this, I don't think the series is bad at all. It's still really good. I just wish some of these things could have been different. And there's a few different things that I'm kind of disappointed in, but it all kind of revolves around the idea that too much is happening too fast. And obviously spoilers, because I'm going to be spoiling and talking about pretty much everything that happens after where the anime ends. And also, this is a very off-the-cuff video, so if it's a little rambly or not quite super precise, that's why. Yeah, I just kind of feel like everything is happening at a rapid pace, and it kind of didn't give anything the room to breathe. And the way I'm seeing it right now, it seems like the series is kind of heading into its final few arcs, because in one arc, that being the Shibuya arc, pretty much everything that we were kind of needing to see happened, but it kind of feels like we missed a lot in getting to that point. Going from the crew fighting the brothers and the cursed spirits to the flashback for Gojo, then suddenly everything goes down at once in the next arc. It feels almost like if you were to watch the first Avengers movie and then go straight into Infinity War without any of the movies or stories in between. And I feel like it's just a shame because I feel like there's a lot of things that could have been done in between where the anime ends and the Shibuya arc starts. Yeah, we don't need like a One Piece style 1,000 chapter long series, or even something like Bleach or Naruto. It doesn't have to be that long, but there still was a lot of space for a lot of stuff that I think was kind of maybe not necessary, because obviously it got to where it is and it's still good, but it just would have been nice to have, right? I mean, think about it. One of the main goals of the series was to collect the 20 fingers of Sakuna, right? And I'm not saying that you should do this, because you shouldn't, because if you did, it would be super bloated, but you could have an arc for each finger, borderline 20 arcs if you really felt like it. I mean, you shouldn't, like I said, but you could. And while, yeah, we don't need 20 dang finger missions, it would have been nice if we had gotten some more. You could have some arcs like the early days of Yu Yu Hakusho, when they were actually doing spirit detective work, going around investigating strange occurrences due to these fingers being out. Or arcs where it's like a mad dash with the villains to see who's gonna get to the fingers first. I mean, even basically just like what was happening in the first few arcs of Jujutsu Kaisen. Because I honestly don't foresee them going on any missions like that from here on out. And to me, that's a shame, because having those missions and even the little gaps in between arcs gave a lot of time for the characters to develop and grow and even get stronger more naturally, instead of being denoted to have gotten stronger by a character through dialogue. And that natural growth would have happened if we had these other arcs, because they would have been fighting against all the villains. But now they can't even do that, because during the Shibuya arc, pretty much every single main villain is dealt with. Hanami, bodied. Jogo, definitely bodied. Chozo, switched sides. The guy with the hand sword, destroyed. And Mahito got absorbed. So now all the potential of our characters, and especially the students, interacting with the villains is all gone, along with a lot of instances for just some cool storytelling. And that time and space that would have been dedicated to having more arcs also could have went to some of the more slice of life stuff. Because for me, and I think a lot of other people, that fun, silly dynamic between our core group was one of the things that we all really enjoyed. The silliness between Nobara and Yuji, and the annoyance of Megumi, and even stuff like the baseball game are just things that we just didn't have time for and that we don't get to see now. Because as things are super serious and way darker, so I don't really see them being able to squeeze any of that stuff into the main series. It would have just been nice to have some more time to flesh out those things and more arcs just to see more of the world and more of the characters and have them doing more stuff. Because I feel that with this speed, that there's a lot of strange character decisions that get made within that Shibuya arc because, well, there's not a lot of time left. And because none of our main characters really had the time to get strong enough to combat any of the villains that we've had so far. Because like I said, you have basically all the main villains go down in this one arc and not one of our, main kiddos beat any of them. They all either lose or they have to be saved by one of the older members of the Jujutsu world, or they don't really fight anyone at all. And then you have stuff like Kugisaki being taken out of the series without having any real lasting effect on that arc. Yeah, she's Mahito's natural counter, but he's kind of gone now, so it doesn't really even matter. And now, yeah, she's probably not actually out of the series, but she's at least on the sidelines for a little bit. Then you have the kind of tragic death of Nanami after he's been out of the series for a while. You have Toto losing his hand, so the boy can't clap no more. Oh. And then on top of that, you have our main character Yuji lose both of his fights. And to me, it just sucks because if you had to put this arc further down the line, then maybe the characters would have been at a level to where they could go toe to toe with some of these villains instead of having it to be where Megumi's dad shows up and then Sakuna deals with a lot of them. And that stuff was cool, but for me, it's kind of like, what did we lose to get that? Because for me, it would have been way cooler to watch, Maki and Panda and Yuji and everyone fight against these villains and win. And even if you still wanted to have them kind of lose and not do very well in that arc, if you had more stuff before it, it wouldn't feel so much of a letdown to have some of these characters be taken out or like we didn't see enough from them. And that kind of goes back to how I feel about the speed kind of taking away these opportunities to show this natural growth, as well as just giving characters time to do things. Like Kugisaki is noted to have gotten stronger, but there was no transition period between that. It was just Black Flash, and next arc she's stronger, which is probably fair because going into the Black Flash probably gives you a boost. You go into the zone like you're in Kuroko no Basket and then you grow from that, which is fair, but still, I just would have preferred to actually see like a progression, whether that be through training or just growing through fights, because right now it's like, okay, I didn't really have a reason to think she needed to be stronger at this point in time, but she is, so okay. And it's a similar situation from Maki, right? Because as much as I love her, it's kind of unfortunate to see her going from getting bodied by Dagon to suddenly basically being god level. And yeah, of course she's not actually god tier, but you get what I mean. But it's stated that, Maki has the same potential as Megumi's dad, Toji, that Toji is Maki's potential realized. But then it goes from not even close to that to at that point instantly. And for me, it just would have been so much more entertaining to watch her grow to that point instead. So there's a lot of these possible character moments that I personally want to see that I feel are just being left on the cutting room floor. And just different character elements that I feel are being done in a disappointing way, for me at least. You have all this stuff going down in one arc. You're introducing characters that we've never seen before that get bodied in the same arc they're introduced, and they will probably never see them again. It's just weird. There's all these characters that we're supposed to love and care about, like Inumaki, Panda, and all of the Kyoto students. but they don't really get a chance to do anything in this arc. So you're kind of sitting there like, okay, well, when are we gonna see anything from them? Because it does seem like we're kind of headed into the last parts of the series. So are these characters just gonna go underused for the remainder that we have left? I just feel like I'm missing out on so much cool stuff that could be there for these characters and situations. It doesn't feel like those special things got their shine, you know, their time in the limelight. You know, Megumi's trump card, the thing he's been holding on to this whole time from like the beginning of the series, just kind of comes and goes and gets bodied. Like it didn't even do what it was supposed to do. You had the chance to create a bunch of different arcs surrounding these fingers, but instead you had the bad guys collect 10 of them off screen and then shove them down Yuji's throat while he's unconscious. Like that's so much potential for interesting stories just gone, in my opinion. And then like, remember how it was a big deal about the fingers like activating all these dormant curses and things going on, and how Megumi was like, oh, don't tell Yuji about it. And then Yuji was being told by Sakuna and he was like, oh, well, don't tell Megumi about it. Does that even matter anymore? Because so many of them are now off the table. And like I said, it seems like we're headed into the final arc. So is that even important anymore? And then the direction that it's going after the Shibuya arc with the whole culling game thing. Chozo thinks Yuji's his brother now, and then like, oh, this Geto's not the real him, but someone's controlling him. And then, oh, is Yuji's mom secretly the guy controlling Geto? There's just so much, and it's just like all this stuff that is making the story more complicated than it probably needs to be. And of course, we have to wait and see how the rest of the story plays out before we can really judge the complexity and how good that aspect of it is done. So we'll have to see, but as of right now, it's kind of turning me off from the series a little bit. But I don't know, these are just some disappointed feelings I had after I caught up with the manga. There are some more smaller things, but I think bringing them up would just be nitpicky. Heck, maybe everything I said already is just nitpicky, but I don't know. It's just how I feel about it right now. And a lot of this is based off the assumption that the series is coming to an end, which it might not be. I don't know. We kind of do have to see where things go from here before it can really fully be judged. So really only time will tell. Also, I do want to make it clear that even with all the things I said here, that I really do still like Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, I really do. I'm excited for it to come back off a hiatus. I'm excited for the new season. It's still a really great show. I still really love it. I only pick on it, I guess, because I do care about it. So if you come away with anything from this, just realize that, you know, I care about this show and I just want the best for it and from it. So I guess if you've watched this video, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let me know. I honestly hope you do disagree with me, because I would much prefer that you like the series than find it to have some disappointing elements like I do, because I definitely want people to like this series. I want it to do well, and I'm glad a lot of people like it and that it's so popular and great. So I guess let me know how you feel down in the comments. Oh yeah, and if you like the song that's playing in the background, that's a song I made. It's called The Light Beneath the Waves. It's a song I made for another video on my channel called The Nature of Gaming. That song is also on the channel, and you can check it out on Spotify and Apple Music if you like it. The link to that will be in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching.